Rock and Roll Ride is sort of an extension of my sort of vision of what my music has been for the last 30 years. It's been quite a rock and roll ride, and so I decided to sort of like lay it all down on a record. It was kind of nice because I grabbed Joel, who plays guitar with Night Ranger, just brought Joel in, Will Evankovich, who plays with me in Shaw Blades. We sat down and actually wrote a couple songs together for the record, and I had friends write songs with me. I called up my buddy Jim Peterick, who wrote Eye of the Tiger, co-wrote Eye of the Tiger, and Jim came in and we wrote a couple great songs, and it was really fun because Robin Zander, I got Robin to come down, and he and I co-wrote a song, and he actually sings on it. And Robin, I'm a big fan of Cheap Tricks. Back in the Game is one of the rockin'est tracks on the record. I wrote it with a couple of friends of mine that are in a group called Slunt. The song was just always in the back of my mind. I thought it was always just a great song, just a real rockin' track, a great big guitar lick. You know, it just moved me. Every time I listened to the song, it really moved me. The video of the song Back in the Game really brings two of my passions together, which is one, of course, music, and just thriving on music and the big licks and the big, you know, choruses and a big chant of back in the game. And then also my love for American military and American military history, because I think the history of any country is really their military history. And being able to tie that together in this song to where someone just, you know, helps out others and he gets them all, so they're still, you know, so they're back in the game, you know, back in the battle, back in the whatever. It doesn't matter if it's a battle. It doesn't matter if you're on a battlefield, whether you're in business or whatever. It's just like, it's like you get knocked down. It's like you get, you know, just get up and get back in the game. And that's what really kind of that song means to me. You know, and then the passion I have for the troops and the service and how so many have just paid the ultimate sacrifice to keep our country free, you know, over all these years. With this video, I feel like it's honoring the troops, and I really, really wanted to honor the troops. The hardest word to say is, I think one of my favorite ballads that I've written in a long time. I mean, I think it's sort of like when I first came up with that with a friend of mine, Brody Stewart. We wrote the song and we both looked at each other and said, "That is a real good big chorus." You know, and I love big choruses. That's always what I've done since 1982. You know, I've always loved choruses. So with the song Hardest Word to Say, it really sort of like, it's a very emotional, you know, passionate feeling ballad, and I think it's sort of like right in the tradition of it, you know, of like the Night Ranger, Damn Yankees ballads, that kind of sort of where I live. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I live.
I don't know how or where to begin. I need you to know just how I'm feeling. I don't want to be the one to say this, no, 'cause I don't want to see you cry.
Rock and Roll Ride, just a fun, kick-ass riff. I mean, Will and I, my buddy Will Evankovich, came up with that riff. We both started playing it and just like da 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 da, you know, big driving like AC/DC type drums, and then of course I thought, well, I better have Brian Tichy, who's the drummer for Whitesnake, who's a great friend of mine, played on the Shaw Blades record with us also, and he's played with everybody. He's played with Ozzy and everything. So I said, this is definitely a Brian Tichy track.
Left out in the cold. What's a young man to do?
That's the whole greatest thing about a rock and roll ride is the rock and roll ride just keeps on going. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, it goes until someone decides they want to stop it. That's what I love about it. The rock and roll ride for me is just going to keep going until I say one day, I don't want to do this anymore. And I can't imagine ever saying that until the day I die. You know what I mean? I mean, what inspired me the most is I went and saw Les Paul playing on his 91st birthday. And there he was on his 90th birthday in New York in this club playing a gig. And I'm like, that was the most inspiring thing I'd ever, talk about a rock and roll ride. You know, and that was the most inspiring thing for me. And I looked at that and I said, that's it, man. That's going to be me. And, you know, I'm going to be 90 years old just going, yeah, you know, let's do it.